In this video, I will show you how I created these frosted see-through Christmas ornaments using the Hero Arts My Monthly Hero November 2022 kit. Welcome, this is Anna from Crafty Anna's Studio. First, let's take a quick look at this month's kit. As per usual, the contents of the kit come in these very practical zippered pouches. Inside each kit, you will receive an inspiration card that, aside from sample design, also lists the contents of the kit. The highlight of the kit are these dies. There are 31 dies in total. It has all the embellishments needed to create beautiful ornaments like wreaths, leaves, houses, trees, berries. It's a crafty stash must-have. The kit also contains a 3x4 stamp set with a variety of sentiments. It also has 3 yards of satin red ribbon, a little pack of snowflake embellishments, and 6 sheets of acetate. Last, certainly not the least, 10 sheets of 8.5 by 5.5 inches of ultra smooth cardstock. These are just perfect for ink blending. The first ornament I will put together is the winter Christmas themed one. I have here all the elements I need to create it. A piece of clear acetate, which I will die cut using the die from the kit. I also die cut another piece, but this time using a laminating sheet. It has a shiny side and a matte side. 3 pieces of the wreath branches die cut out of craft cardstock. A leaf cluster die cut out of parchment paper, and also the pine needles cluster cut out of vellum. I also die cut 2 pieces of the poinsettia and 2 pieces of the small flower. Before assembling the ornament, I will stamp the sentiment on the inside. I have a sticky mat which I will use on my stamping tool. I take the piece that I die cut out of a laminating sheet and place it in the middle, the matte side facing up. Later on, I will add washi tape to secure it, as my sticky mat isn't so sticky anymore. Then I take the Merry Christmas stamp from the Holiday Foliage Messages stamp set and place it in the middle of the circle, using the grid of the sticky mat as a guide. Then I close the door of my stamping tool to pick up the stamp. I will be using the Hero Arts Unicorn White Pigment ink to stamp the sentiment. I ink up the stamp, tapping it very lightly several times until I get good coverage. I close the door of the MISTI, or my stamp positioning tool, and press lightly with even pressure. I make sure I do not press too hard, as it will cause the ink to ooze out of the lines. My first stamp impression is very good, and it may be because my stamp is well used. But you can ink up several times if needed to get a good impression. Take care not to touch the stamped image, as this will remain wet for a long period of time. This shouldn't be an issue later on, as it will be encased inside the ornament. Speaking of which, I will be using this silicone nano tape as a substitute for foam tape. I bought this online. Just search for nano tape and it would be available in Amazon or any local online store that carries a variety of products. I've already pre-cut thin strips of this tape using large scissors. This tape is extremely sticky, so I use Tim Holtz scissors with Teflon blades. I am placing these thin strips all around the edges of the clear acetate circle. They are very flexible, so I'm able to bend them into shape. After placing the first layer, I will remove the release paper of each strip and add another layer of tape. This will give the ornament more dimension and extra room for adding embellishments. And speaking of embellishments, I will use the snowflakes embellishments that came in the kit to decorate around the sentiment. I take an embellishment wand, otherwise known as the jewel picker, and place the large white snowflakes randomly around the sentiment. I will also do the same with the small silver snowflakes. Once I was satisfied with the placement, I used strong liquid glue in a fine-tipped bottle and adhered each of the snowflakes. I don't know why, but I find this part so satisfying to do. Then I take the clear acetate die-cut circle, remove the release paper on all of the strips, and carefully place it on top of the inked and embellished piece. I used the hole on top of the circle as a guide to make sure everything was aligned. I press down very lightly on all sides, taking care not to press the middle part as the stamped sentiment may still be a little wet. Off camera, I adhered all 3 wreath branches one on top of each other to create more dimension. I will then use a finger dabber to add some white ink all around the wreath. This will give it a snowy texture. Next, I will look for the perfect spot on the ornament where the wreath will not cover up the hole at the top. Then I will add liquid glue to the back, carefully placing it on top, then pressing it lightly all around until it's well in place. Now for the flowers. First, I will add some details to the middle of the flowers using this Sakura glitter pen in gold stardust. I will add little lines radiating from the middle towards the outer parts of the petals. I will do this for one of the poinsettias and both of the small flowers. Next, I will take the larger flower and with my small detailed scissors, I will snip and separate the petals. I will just follow the pre-cut lines made by the die. Once the petals are all separated, I use my nails to curl up the petals to give it some added interest and dimension. If you do not have long enough nails, you can use the edge of your detailed scissors. After this, I will take some crystal baubles and add them to the middle of the flowers. 5 baubles for the main poinsettia and 1 each for the little flowers. Then I take the poinsettia, which I had embellished, and adhere it on top of the plain one, offsetting it a little. Then I will set it aside to dry. While that's drying, I will adhere the leaf cluster that I had cut out of parchment paper on top of the wreath branches, placing it a little off-center. Then I will add a cluster of pine needles, which I had cut out of vellum, right on top. Then I will add a large flower in the middle of the 2 smaller flowers. There, it's almost done. You can see how the laminating sheet gives it a frosted look, and the flowers are beautiful and sparkly. Later on, I will add ribbon and a gold string. Here is one I created earlier, but this one is a shaker ornament. I wanted to create a more traditional themed ornament, so I decided to change up the colors for this one. Instead of white pigment ink, I used black pigment ink to stamp the season's greeting sentiment, also from the holiday foliage messages stamp set. I also embellished it with gold satin bubbles. I die cut the wreath branches out of pitch black cardstock and the flowers from cherry red cardstock. The leaves and the pine needles are cut from different shades of green. To add shine, I used Hero Wax in gold. This is a new product from Hero Arts. This product is perfect to use with stencils and mixed media projects. I will use it for adding gold details on all the elements. So using my fingers, I take very little of the product and dab it onto the black wreath. I applied it sparingly, just tapping it here and there, mostly on the edges. A little goes a long way. I did the same on the leaves and the pine needles clusters, as well as the edges of the poinsettia and the little flowers. I then added some gold baubles to the middle of the flowers. I reassembled the rest of the ornament pretty much the same way I did the winter-themed one. Then I added some gold string and a mini bow, which I created using this red satin ribbon in the kit. To tie this bow, I cut about 10 inches of the ribbon. I placed one end of the ribbon on top of the back of a fork, leaving about an inch and an inch and a half to 2 inches hanging off one end. Then I held it in place with my finger. I looped the ribbon around and tucked it under my finger to keep it in place, while I inserted the other end of the ribbon through the middle gap of the fork. I left a little loop while I took the edge over and through the upper middle part of the fork and then passed it through the loop. Very important to note, to loop on this side and not on the other side of the loop. Then I pulled the end tightly while holding the other end with my finger. And there you have a perfect little bow, which I adhered on top of the tag with a glue dot. About a year ago, I made a similar project using a snow globe die. If you'd like to check it out, I have it linked above and at the end of my video. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, I would really appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you're interested in the Here Arts products I used in this video, I have it all linked in the video description below, as well as a full list of supplies on my blog post, also linked below. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, bye!